The nurse had no idea of the patient's past, that he once struggled with addiction. To ease his pain, she gave him a shot of morphine. But for someone who had fought so hard to stay clean, morphine was not medicine. It was poison. That very night, the cravings he thought were buried came rushing back. The pain in his body was unbearable. He could barely speak, barely breathe. Half conscious, he imagined his daughter sitting beside him, holding his hand, guiding him out of that darkness. Yet his wounds were so severe that the doctor coldly declared, "You may never walk again. Competing in triathlons? Impossible." Hearing those words, he collapsed to the floor, sobbing. Everyone around him knew how hard he had worked. Even his girlfriend's father came to encourage him, whispering his daughter's name as if to remind him what he was fighting for. And in that moment, he made a vow. No matter how hard the road, no matter how many times he fell, he would rise again for her. His determination became unbreakable. 6 months later, against all odds, he stood on his feet once more. His dream of competing in a triathlon never left him. But just 1 month before the race, the organizers changed the rules. 3 kilometers of swimming, 60 kilometers of cycling, and a full 30 kilometers of running. His coach begged him not to join, the risk was too great. But he had already decided he would not back down. The starting whistle blew. Dozens of athletes dove into the ocean. After only a few hundred meters, his old lung injury nearly dragged him under. Rescue crews tried to pull him out, but after 2 deep breaths, he dove back in, refusing to surrender. When he finally reached the shore, he was 10 minutes behind the leader. But the next stage was cycling, his greatest strength. With pure force, he overtook one competitor after another. By the time the marathon began, he was already in the lead. But the last 10 kilometers pushed his body to the brink. His legs were bleeding, his muscles screaming for mercy. His coach shouted for him to stop. Instead, he cut his shoes open with a knife to ease the pain and kept running. His vision blurred. Hallucinations appeared, old friends, his lover, people drowning in addiction, begging for help. And then he saw himself, the weak, fearful man he once was. But this time, he fought back. He shattered that shadow with every ounce of willpower, breaking the chains that once enslaved him. The finish line was in sight. His legs gave out. He collapsed, then crawled forward with his hands. In that desperate moment, he saw his daughter's smile, his partner's loving gaze. Their faces gave him strength. With trembling steps, he rose again. The crowd erupted in cheers as he staggered across the finish line. He was no longer just an athlete. He was a world triathlon champion. The man once branded a slave to drugs had become a hero in the hearts of millions. Do you have determination like him?